Hi, everybody. So I wanted to talk today about streaming items that I feel like I can't do without, or content creation items I can't do without. There'll be some things that I think a lot of people could utilize, or that you want to have for content creation. Then there's other things it's like the nice to have things. So I just kind of want to talk about how I've added things to my personal setup, things that I really enjoy having, or things that I feel like I can't do without. So the first one is a pretty obvious one: is the microphone. So here we have the Shure SM7DB. It's an XLR microphone. Now, it's not something where you have to get some crazy expensive microphone like this one, but it does really improve sound quality when you have an XLR microphone, in my opinion. But there are several good USB options as well, like the Elgato Wave 3 microphone, I believe it is. That's the one I started out with myself. Very good USB microphone to use. But yeah, I mean, having a good microphone, making sure that, you sound good and clear, that's definitely something that I feel you really need. Second thing I would say that I can't really do without in my streams or my content creation is a good camera. So this here is the Elgato Facecam 4K Pro. It's a very good camera. Now, my experience with the regular Facecam was not great. What I'm using to record this video is actually the Razer Kia Pro, which I really do enjoy using as well. So again, you don't have to spend a ton of money, but you definitely want to get something that's at least 1080p 60, and something that you can, control the image with. I know I'm pretty washed out right now. The lights are super bright, so um, I know that can sometimes cause issues with that for people too. But yeah, a good webcam, definitely something you want to have. The next thing is some good lighting. Now, this is the Elgato key lights, and while you don't have to use the key light specifically, right? You can get other ones. I believe like Newer is the brand on Amazon that I started out with as well. The reason why I went to the key lights is because I felt I could control them easier, and it was much more control. I can do it through the app on my PC, on my phone, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like, good lighting is always a good thing. Like, you can start off with a ring light. I've done that too, but you always want to have some decent lighting, whether it's room lighting, natural lighting, or whatever, or a mix of it. So I definitely will say that it's hard now to not have the lighting at all for me. So it's lighting is definitely one of those important. So I think those first three things: microphone, camera, and lights. If you have those three things, you're good to go, in my opinion. And those are things I definitely cannot do without. Now, if you're like me and you have both a PC that you can play on, or maybe you have some consoles, whether it be older consoles or newer ones, as long as you have an HDMI output, the next thing I would say that I highly recommend is a capture card. And this one here is the AverMedia HDMI 2.1 internal capture card, which I did have for a while. But I also have an Elgato 4KX external capture card, which is what I personally prefer. If you're going to play gaming on HDR based graphics, so if you have HDR on a lot and you're going to be doing it from a console, highly recommend this card here, or the Elgato, either the HD60X or the 4KX, because you can run it in sRGB mode on your OBS. So when you're capturing it, the picture doesn't look washed out and everything to stream, because that's one of the problems when you turn on HDR. A lot of times, streaming services like Twitch, etc., or then YouTube, don't really support HDR. So to make it look as good as possible for the audience, that's when you want to do that. But yeah, capture card, definitely one of those nice to have things. Now, you can do that too with a dual PC setup. You can run it through the capture card as well if you want to do that. I personally don't do that, but we'll touch on that here in a moment. So, capture card. Now, let's say you have more than one HDMI device you want to capture. Say you have an Xbox, a Switch, and a PS5. Or maybe you have a PS5 and another PC, something like that, where you're going to have more than one. So the next recommended thing I would say personally that's really makes it convenient in your setup without having to sit there and unplug cables all the time, going to be this guy here. This is an HDMI switch box. Now, this one here, this brand I really do like. It's one of my favorite brands. I've went through a ton of these guys. They all seem to work fine, but it's just the features you want. So like this one here, over on Amazon, it actually does 4K 120. It'll do supposedly up to 8K, but I don't do anything 8K, so I don't know if that's how well that works or not. But it also does support like ALLM, VRR, HDR, Dolby Vision, all that stuff. It's all supported, so you won't have any problems doing that. And then you just plug this output into your capture card, and then you plug all your other things you want to be able to capture into the inputs. And that allows you to automatically just switch to the item you have on. So let's say if I, for example, if I was going from my Xbox to my PlayStation 5, I can do that. It comes with a nice little remote, which is actually right here. So I can switch between the 4 different inputs on this one. You can get them up to like 5 inputs, but some of the newer ones, like this one, you're going to be it's harder to find a 5 input one, but 4 inputs not too bad, and they don't cost a lot. Definitely under $100. Normally, I think the most I've ever spent on was on this one, maybe for like about $60. So a good investment if you're someone, like I said, like me, you have multiple HDMI input devices, you're running through a capture card, get an HDMI switch. Even if you get one that's only 4K 60, you're not going to be able to stream to 120 FPS on the stream, but you'll be able to pass through that. So that's why I have that. But very handy tool to have for sure. So on to the 2 things that I would say are definitely nice to haves and kind of enhances the stream, the way you can do your stream, way you can do content creation and that sort of thing. The first one is going to be an audio interface. And what the audio interface does for you, it allows you to separate out different channels of audio. Some do it via hardware, some do it via software, some do kind of a combination of the 2. This is the Beacon Mix Create. This is what I currently use. I also have the Beacon Studio, which drives the microphone I have. But the nice thing about this model, and there was another, I forget the Elgato, the Elgato XLR, Wave XLR. It gives you dual channel audio, which means you can separate out what your chat hears and what you hear. So you can have different volume levels. Maybe you want to hear it, but you don't want chat to hear it. Those sort of things, which makes it really nice. So this is definitely a nice to have because it can get a little bit pricey. I mean, a few $100s that you're going to invest in something like that. But for me personally, once I started using audio interfaces, it was hard to go back. There are some software only options like Voicemeeter Banana and stuff like that you can use as well, because I know a lot of people use that because it's a free software. You can pay to get more options or more features, I believe, for it. It's been a few years since I've used it personally. But if you have a dual PC setup, you'll still have to run wires from in and out from your sound card to both with something like that. Whereas this, you may not need to because you can have 2 USB outputs. So it's just kind of various options you have there. But I think it's really nice. It's easier to control the volume and separate it out like I was just talking about a moment ago. So the last thing that I feel is definitely a nice to have. Like, I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not, but now that I use it, I cannot live without it, guys. And this is the Elgato prompter. So when this came out, I was like, oh, that's kind of silly, right? No. I will say this is definitely one of those things. Let's say you just have your microphone, camera, and lights. I still think this is something that I would personally recommend to a lot of people. Oh, and there is one more thing that I forgot to mention that I'll circle back to here in a second. But this is nice. So you can put up your chat on this. It does have integrated with Twitch chat. It's kind of off and on as far as how well it works, but you can put browser windows on there. It acts as another display to your computer, and then your webcam goes behind it. So when you're reading chat, you're looking directly at your audience, right? You're reading chat, you're looking directly at it. I'm not using it right now. I'm using my other webcam, but the Facecam Pro 4K is back behind there. You can use it with any webcam, any DSLR camera. It has different fittings for you to slide the camera into so that it can, block out light from behind it. And it's a really good thing. Like, I highly, highly recommend this. If anything else, and if you don't, maybe you don't have a second display, well, this would be a good option in my opinion. But it's very useful. I use a chat window in a browser on this. I find it be more consistent and works better for me personally. And I've used it on multiple platforms. So again, like if you can have your chat in a browser, whether you're using multi-stream or whatever, that's going to work really well for you. One item I did forget to mention, and sorry, I don't have the picture available, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, is the Elgato Stream Deck. So you have different flavors of the Stream Deck. You have the basic one, the MK2, I think, is the latest version of that one. I forget how many keys are on. I think like 8, maybe. And then you have the regular Stream Deck, which is like 15 keys. And then you have the Stream Deck XL, which is like 32. So I've had all of them, even the smallest one. Actually, I was about to say I didn't have the smallest one, but I've had them all. You can also get the Stream Deck Plus, which is what I currently use. And what the Plus gives you is 8 keys, push button keys, like on the regular Stream Deck, and then 4 control knobs. And the control knobs are nice because, again, let's say you have the Elgato Wave XLR interface. They actually make a dock now where you can dock it onto the Stream Deck Plus and use it as one unit. But that's how, when I was using a Stream Deck XLR interface, I was using the control knobs on there to control my different audio levels, like for my capture card, for my games audio, and that sort of thing. Right now, I currently use it for my lights and my different scenes. So I found that I didn't really need the XL. So I did sell my XL as well as my regular Steam Deck. I just wasn't using them enough. Like it was nice to have all those buttons, but you can easily put folders in there and stuff. But the Stream Deck is, again, I think it's one of those nice to have things. You can also get the software based version too, which is going to be cheaper for you in the long run. Because I think if I remember, I think you do a subscription. So if you do a subscription for just a couple years, it's not too bad. But if you're going to go more than a couple years, I would say just buy a Stream Deck outright. But so that is basically my input on what I personally use, what I really like having for my streams. Of course, I have some things in the background there. You can see I have the wall panels, the light LED board. I have the mushroom head guy over there. And those sort of things. I have a dog cam. You can see the dog, he's in there, so I don't have to use the cam because he's on the video. But extra stuff like that, that's just stuff over time that you may want to decide to add. They're cool features to have of your stream. It's not needed. Some of you may not even want your background in the stream, which is fine too. So I hope this information is useful to you. If you guys need any assistance with how to set up certain things, especially for dual PC setups, check my other videos I have on there. How to use the teleport plugin, which is how I get stuff from my gaming PC over to my stream PC. This allows me to play games on my gaming PC and put them over to the stream PC without going through the capture card. And that's one of the methods I do prefer because I feel like it works better for me personally. But there are some videos I have out there as also how to set up the HDMI switch box with multiple consoles or multiple HDMI inputs and that sort of stuff. So as always, guys, if you could like this video, subscribe if you're not already, and if you have any comments, just throw them in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.